Did you think that Saint Statue was from a movie? No, actually it's from a game. Precisely, it's an interactive field game called Late Shift. The most distinctive feature of the games is their emphasis on storytelling, with branching narratives and multiple endings. Every decision you make influences the fate of the characters. In Late Shift, the presentation doesn't pause during the decision-making process, so players must react in 5 seconds. There are 180 choice points and 7 different endings. Different from other interactive field games like Detroit Become Human, whose characters and scenes are entirely modeled. Late Shift adopts a fully live-action approach, resembling the production style of a movie. The playable character and protagonist is Matt, a college student who works as a parking lot attendant. One night, Matt finds himself involved in London's criminal underworld when he is forced to work with a group of armed robbers. Matt needs to protect himself as much as possible. Will you collect evidence to prove your innocence? Or will you seize the unexpected opportunity to make money? Or will you fail in a game with criminals and lose your life? Late Shift received very positive reviews on Steam. 72/100 points according to review aggregator Metacritic. The Sunday Times named it the most important film of the year. The Los Angeles Times called it the world's first fully realized choose your own advantage film. The game won many awards, including a BAFTA Camry Award, Best Mobile/Tablet, and Most Creative and Original Game Connection Development Awards. It was also nominated for an IMG Award.
The best feature of Late Shift is that it's an interactive movie game with cinematic elements and live-action renditions that make this game very graphically realistic. It's very interactive and immersive, as if you are actually experiencing what the protagonist is doing. In addition to this, the player is not simply a spectator, nor is he forced to advance the plot, but is required to make choices often in the game, and the player decisions can lead to the death of the protagonist or his companions if he makes the slightest mistake, making the game a tense experience. When the game requires the player to make a decision, it only gives you a few seconds to react and make a quick choice, resulting in the player making many decisions subconsciously.
But this is also the philosophy and subtlety of this game design. Life does not have so much time for you to think. Instantaneous, small decisions often change everything, just like the butterfly effect. Late Shift as an AVG text adventure game. The operation is simple. As long as the left mouse button can complete all the processes. Still, it is also this retro design, simple design, will allow players to block out the subjective operation of the impact of the game itself, to be more immersed in the experience of the game plot. In the process of the game, there are many protagonists. Matt's psychological monologue is full of philosophical meaning, so that players are not brainless experience of the game's sense of excitement and entertainment, but experience an adventure that will make people think deeply. The game is not only a unique audio-visual and an interactive experience, but also a great joy while adding philosophical reflections on life, and even an interesting characterization of the game. Mart, the protagonist, is an absolute believer in computational science. At the same time, May is a timely person who follows her feelings, and the personality differences create several conflicts and contradictions that are highly valuable in the game.
Next, I will talk about a few of the game's outstanding advantages. First of all, the form of the game is very unique. It's an interactive movie game. The game screen is well made. To simulate a real movie, character and scenes are all made by real people to give players the most realistic sensory experience. There is a sense of immersive integration. Secondly, the design of the game content and plot has also been praised by many players. The storyline is based on suspense. Players commented that the plot is full of reversal but not abrupt, set up a lot of conflicts so that the game is not tedious, and will always want to know what will happen next, to give the player the motivation to play on. The design of the ending is also full of multiplicity, with a total of 7 endings, which mobilize the player's curiosity and enrich the content setting of the game. The third point is that the game's interface and subtitles are available in a total of 18 languages, which has a wide range of audience. Finally, the game is wheel-based, so it does not require high-level electronic equipment for the player. The time needed to play the war game is not long, which does not require too much brain power and energy, so it is suitable for leisure and relaxation.
For the game lead shift, there are generally 3 issues in player reviews. Firstly, there is a game setup issue, where the game plot cannot be jumped into or saved. This results in players having to watch the ending again every time they complete it, and after failing, they have to start over from scratch. Perhaps you find it cool the first time you watch it, but after repeating it many times, the novelty becomes dull. In addition, some players pointed out that many levels in the game involve personal choices, and no matter what choices are made, the results cannot be changed. It seems to be forcing players to make choices, which brings a deep sense of powerlessness to players. The second issue is that the values conveyed in the game are very controversial. There is an important dialogue in the game, where the museum director says, "These Chinese people think things were once theirs. They will always be theirs." The background of this sentence involves the historical background of Chinese cultural relics being looted. Many of the plots are too extreme, which has caused dissatisfaction among many Chinese players. The final issue is the game soundtrack. The late shift is produced in high definition, and players can enjoy a blend of movies, games, and interactive storytelling as the selling point. In the game, players can only experience it through auditory, visual, and operational senses. However, the late shift soundtrack is monotonous, and in the later stages, players may find it uninteresting.
To make a conclusion, though Late Shift is not a perfect game, it is still thought-provoking. On the one hand, this game teaches us to pay attention to details and our choices. In the game, even little choices can have an influence on Marty or his friend's life. On the other hand, the game explores complexity of morality by providing us with challenging decisions that lack clear right or wrong answers. It tests our choices when faced with moral dilemmas. Risk or safety, companionship or money, what would you pick? Lastly, there is a debate in our group that can this kind of interactive movies count as games. We think unconventional games should include elements of skills, goals, puzzles, and so on. However, all these traits don't exist obviously in Late Shift. The narrative plays a central role in the game, but we cannot put it simply into movies as well. Because unlike passive audience of a traditional movie, we can decide the ending of it. So we think it is still a question deserves further discussion.